So we're moving on to the next step, and that's gonna be wet sanding. Most of the interior is in, but it's gonna be cleaning up and correcting this paint. So I wanna show you guys, let's see. You can kind of see the orange peel on there. See how it looks pretty rough and bumpy? It's not a smooth, crystal clear reflection. That is the orange peel. So it's pretty much over the entire truck. Not a huge deal. There's another shot of it. But we're gonna wet sand and buff it. So I'm starting out in this area that's gonna be covered up by a panel I have that says Chevy. I'm putting that on, that trim piece, so that's where I want to start. And you can see there's actually a good example of a run right there in the paint. No, the light is not helping, so I think it's making it worse for you guys. That's a good example of some of the runs that showed up in this clear coat. And there's a few others. The paint job's not perfect. And that's my body work, those indents, which I'm not really gonna do anything about that. But in the other areas, we've got some orange peel running down the side. So I'm gonna start in an area where it doesn't really matter if I mess it up, so I can get the hang of it. The clear coat has dried for about 48 hours now. I'm gonna start off with 2000. I'm gonna be wet sanding with 2000 grit. I've got 1200 if 2000 is not cutting enough. But we're just looking to level this off. I'll show you what it looks like once I've sanded out all of the orange peel before I start buffing. And I'll show you what I'm gonna buff with the polisher. All right, I sanded maybe for a minute in this area, and I just wanna show you what I'm talking about because this illustrates it better. All this dull looking area, this is the part that I've sanded, and you can tell now clearly there's ridges. It's very uneven on the surface. It's doing a wave, and we're trying to get it to this area where it's basically flat and it's no longer lumpy. And the 2000 cut right through this, so I don't know if my clear coat is really soft still. I think it definitely not gonna use any sort of a 1200 grit on this. The 2000 is gonna be fine. I'm just gonna keep going at it and move across. I'll actually probably only do half. I'll do right to the tailgate thing, and then I'll switch over to the polisher and I'll start trying to buff out these fine scratches to bring back the shine. And we'll just see how that works before I do the rest of the truck and end up messing it up. Now, a couple things to pay attention to. You don't really need to, these areas, you have to be, I'm not even pointing at it. You need to be very careful around the corners when you're doing this, because as you're sanding, I'm barely putting any pressure on this, but when you use a block and you go over a sharp corner like this or a body line, it's gonna put all the pressure in that one area. So you really don't want to sand those much at all. Just leave the orange peel on that, in my opinion. You're not gonna see a ton of that. It's mainly on these big flat areas where you see it and notice it. But if you're going to do it, that's fine. Just be very careful when you do this and make sure you've got a pretty flexible sponge so that you're not sanding right through it and burning through your clear coat. So I'm gonna keep going. Here is about another 10 minutes of sanding. Orange peel, cleared coat, hasn't been sanded, and this has all been sanded with 2000. So this is an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna go super deep into it. This is an old 4x4, and I also don't wanna take off too much clear. I'm kinda worried about going through the clear completely. So these areas around the corners where I don't wanna burn through the clear right there and start to peel the paint, and then down in here it's pretty pitted and lumpy. That could be the panel. Like I could tell you right here, this is probably the panel. That's likely it's a dent. I can feel it. It's not orange peel necessarily. Now you could sand into that stuff deeper, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna just start with this. So let's take out our compound and we'll start. Well, first I'm gonna clean this off. I wanna make sure there's no grit left on it before I start polishing, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna use. All right, I just got back from Harbor Freight, and this is what I picked up. I've got a 6-inch DA buffer, which will be a random orbital. I'm gonna go with 105, cutting compound first from Meguiar's, and I may finish it up with the 205, I don't know. And I've got these little foam pads here. I will probably start with this cutting compound foam pad, or I'll start with the polishing foam pad over there with the cutting compound on top of it, the 105. But that's what we're gonna do up against this wet sanded panel. And we'll start to bring out those scratches. All right, this was the blue medium pad from Harbor Freight with Meguiar's 105 and maybe 5-10 minutes. So you can see the reflection a lot better if the light wasn't there. And there's where I haven't done any sort of, and I threw a bunch of polish up here as well, so I don't want that to get in the way. But you know, you can see the orange peel still up here, and then you can see the shop light reflection a lot clearer. There's still a couple swirl marks in there, so I think I might hit it with the 105 polish right now, or the 205 actually. It's a lot lighter of a cut, but overall it got rid of the orange peel, and I think it looks, you know, in my opinion, pretty amazing for something that I did. So I'm gonna try this 205 polish. We'll see what that does. So now here is the 205. So let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see the camera and me up there and the reflection of the orange peel. And then that is after wet sanding, buffing, and polishing. You saw how far I took it down. I didn't get out every single little dent. You can still see that guy there. You know, we're not gonna get rid of that one. But otherwise, it's pretty mirror-like. There's a few small light scratches, and I think if I kept on working at this, maybe if I did a 3000 or 2500 round of wet sanding on top of the 2000, or if I kept on using a bit more rounds with maybe the 105 cut or a couple other polishing steps, it would look all right and probably get rid of that stuff. But I do not care about that. So now the fun part, I get to wet sand the rest of this turd. At least the good thing is I'm not gonna do the fiberglass roof. I'm okay with the texture. It's fiberglass anyways. I don't think I could wet sand that enough to make it look smooth. So time to clean up all this and then wet sand. Okay, wet sanded and buffed with Meguiar's 105 and 205. And we're about ready for hood and starting to reassemble the little pieces and grill and all that stuff. So we'll keep moving. Hood is back on. It's pretty easy to align. It's just 4 bolts on each side. You stick the ones that are attached to the actual coil spring guy in first. Those can kind of move around, doesn't really matter where they're positioned. But it's the 2 in the back that actually line stuff up. And now I'll do the grill and just all the marker lights. Keep moving with reassembly. Here's a tech tip, pro tip for you guys. Something I want to show you that I never thought about this when I first started messing around with this kind of stuff years ago, but now it makes the life so much easier. So this is, you know, this thing, backing plate that goes on the truck. So I can back up like that. However, there's supposed to be holes in the truck, like this guy. And then on the back side of this one, you've got these little metal tabs that slide in here, and they have bolts that poke in, and then you thread a nut on to the back side inside the tailgate. Now when you're doing this, it's impossible really for you just to hold the thing up there, push it on there, push it against this, and then look down this way to see where the bolt is touching, and then go move it, make a mark, and drill your hole. You're never gonna get it lined up properly. Now you could measure. I have old holes in here. This originally had one, but someone bondoed over them and then filled it in and then painted it years ago. So what I'm gonna do is make a cardboard template. This works out a lot better. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna trace out this shape into the cardboard, and then you're gonna put it on the cardboard and you're gonna mark it with Sharpie. You're gonna push it through the cardboard so it pokes holes wherever you need the holes in your truck. And then from there, you can take your cardboard, set it up against the truck. There's holes straight through it, so you can just draw those holes out with a Sharpie rather than having to mess with it and guess and check. Drill a bunch of holes you don't need. So that's the idea, and I'll show you as I move through it. There is my cardboard template. I'm gonna go match this up on the truck, fit it in where I want it, and then I'll draw some holes with my silver Sharpie, and then I'll figure out the size for these little bolts sticking up, and then I'll drill some holes. And there you have it. The little trim piece in the back is on. Alright, the tailgate's back in. The windows are up. Everything's reconnected in the back side. Got this handle on. If you guys want me to make a video on that, just let me know. I can do that. I just figured this video isn't really about that, and it would get really lengthy if I started going into how to do everything that I did. But man, look at that paint. That's not bad, man. Very mirror-like. Looking good. Here's a terrible part that no one tells you about. You gotta put the donor truck back together. That thing over there. I do plan on this being I'm gonna sell the vehicle. I plan on it being a fully functioning, driving complete vehicle. I'm not gonna leave any interior out. I gotta take all the interior, all the pieces that I took off of this guy, and I gotta put it back in here. So that's boring, takes a lot of time.